Jaden's eyes opened slowly. The lights inside his space shuttle were flickering. Sparks jumped from the control panel. Smoke filled the air, and silence surrounded him. No sound, no alarm, nothing. Just the empty cold of space that he blinked. The last thing he remembered was flying near Sector 9B, a dead zone in deep space. He was on a simple delivery mission. Nothing dangerous, nothing strange. But then, a flash, a strange, silent light hit his ship, and everything went black. Now, he was floating in the middle of nowhere. System. Reboot, he whispered. Nothing. He tried to move, but his body felt heavy, like something was pressing him down. His fingers were numb, and his head was spinning. Then, he heard it, a whisper, faint, soft. Not in any language he understood. But it was there, Jaden. His heart stopped. He looked around quickly. The cockpit was empty, no sign of life. No voice recording. "Who's there?" he asked, voice shaking. No answer. He stared through the main window. Stars shimmered far away. His ship drifted slowly through black space. Again, the whisper came. "You are the one. You must listen." His hands trembled. He reached for the backup scanner, still dead. The screen showed static, but then something strange appeared. A blinking message. "No one can see us now. I need you. A B." Jaden stared at the screen. A B? Who is that? Alien bride? He had heard stories. In deep space bars, old pilots told tales of a hidden being, a female creature of light and shadow. They called her the alien bride. They said she whispered to lost travelers, chose one human every 100 years. But Jaden never believed it. Until now. His hands hovered over the control panel. This must be a trick, a dream. Suddenly, the ship jolted. A strange energy moved through the metal walls. The lights turned blue for a moment, and the temperature dropped. And then, she appeared. Floating above the console was a figure, soft, glowing white, almost like a mist. A woman, or something shaped like one. Her eyes were closed, her hands together. Her long hair floating like it was underwater. Jaden froze. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. The figure opened her eyes. They were silver, bright, like twin stars. "The time has come," she whispered. "You must fulfill your duty." "What duty? Who are you?" Jaden finally shouted, but she didn't answer. Her form started to fade. Like dust in the wind, she disappeared, leaving behind only a strange sound, like a heartbeat echoing in space. Boom. 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 Jaden sat still for a long moment. Then the lights in the ship turned on. His controls flickered back to life. Fuel levels, 30%. Oxygen, 4 hours. Destination, unknown. What the hell is going on? He muttered. He looked at the blinking message again. No one can see us now. He typed into the computer. "Who are you?" The reply came instantly. "Bride of the Void, I wait for you." A new path appeared on the navigation screen. A route into a dark region of space, marked the Void of Silence. Jaden hesitated. He had never seen that place before. It wasn't on any star maps. His heart pounded, but somehow, he felt pulled. Like something inside him already knew the way. He took a deep breath. "All right, Ghost Lady. Let's see where you want me to go." He turned the ship and followed the path. Outside, the stars seemed to fade. The universe grew quiet. Like everything was holding its breath. As his ship entered the void, a soft voice echoed one last time. "No one can see us. Now it's time for me to fulfill my duty." And then, silence. Darkness was no longer empty. It moved. As Jaden's ship floated deeper into the void of silence. The stars behind him vanished. There were no planets, no comets, no sound, just a sea of black. Alive. The space outside his window bent. Like waves, shadows shifted. It was as if something was watching. Something old. Suddenly his ship stopped, completely. No crash. No impact. It simply froze in place. Jaden stared at the controls. Every system blinked. Green normal. But he couldn't move forward. Or backward. Then, the lights inside dimmed, and a soft sound filled the air. A hum, not from the engine. It was singing. A woman's voice. Far away, but beautiful. Like a lullaby floating through space. Jaden stood up slowly. His breath fogged the air. It had gotten cold again. He followed the sound to the back of the ship, where a storage hatch slowly slid open, by itself. Inside was something that hadn't been there before. A box. Bluth, not human-made. On top, a silver ring. Glowing. Jaden picked it up. It was warm, pulsing with soft blue light. As soon as it touched his skin, it wrapped around his finger. "Hey, wait!" He shouted, trying to pull it off. Too late. Suddenly, a bright flash. Everything around him vanished. He wasn't in the ship anymore. Jaden stood in the middle of a wide stone hall. Tall walls rose high above him, covered in glowing symbols, none in any known language. Blue fire danced along the walls. The air smelled like old books and rain. Before him stood a figure. Tall, dressed in white and gold. Her face covered by a silver veil. The alien bride. She slowly stepped forward. Her feet did not touch the floor. Jaden tried to speak, but no sound came out. The air around him felt thick. The bride raised her hand. Time slowed. "You were chosen, not by fate, but by agreement," she said softly. He could finally speak. "Agreement? With who?" She looked at him through the veil. "With your people. With mine. A promise made before you were even born." Jaden shook his head. "This is insane. I'm just a pilot, a nobody." "You carry the mark," she said, pointing to the ring on his hand. "And now the bond is awakened." He looked down. The ring was glowing brighter, showing tiny symbols circling around it. Jaden stepped back. "I didn't agree to anything." The bride tilted her head. Her voice became softer, sadder. "They didn't tell you. But you've always felt different, haven't you?" His mind raced. The dreams. The feeling of being watched as a child. The strange static in his ears when he stared at stars too long. "Why me?" he asked quietly. The bride walked closer. "Because only a human heart can carry the dawn flame. Only you can open the path." "Open the path to what?" Before she could answer, the hall shook violently. A deep horn echoed from above. A red alarm flashed across the stone walls. "They have found us," she whispered. "Who?" "The ones who fear this union, the council. They want me dead." "And you erased." Stone panels in the walls opened, revealing golden machines that began to move like spiders. They scanned Jaden but didn't attack. The bride turned to him. Her voice serious now. "You must leave. Go to the Temple of Echo. Follow the ring. It knows the way." Jaden backed away. "Wait. I have more questions." But the room was already fading. The machines closed in. The last thing he heard was her voice, quiet in his mind. "This is only the beginning, Jaden. You are not just my groom. You are the key." Jaden opened his eyes back inside his ship. The ring was still glowing. Outside the window, a strange new star system had appeared, golden, cracked, with a planet hovering in pieces like a shattered mirror. And on his screen, a new message blinked. Next destination, Temple of Echo. Nobody had ever seen this place before, not because it was far, not because it was small, but because it was invisible. Jaden's ship drifted slowly toward a shattered world, a planet broken into massive floating pieces, spinning gently around. A glowing core. The pieces didn't fall. They hovered like puzzle pieces frozen in time. The planet had no name. No data. No map showed it. But the ring on Jaden's finger pointed directly to it. like a compass that knew secrets even the stars had forgotten. As his ship approached, the glass around the cockpit began to fog up, but from the outside. And then, something strange happened. The ship passed through a thin blue mist, and in an instant, everything changed. The broken planet was suddenly whole. Lush forests, glowing rivers, floating mountains. Creatures flew in the air like living ribbons of light. A golden sky stretched above, filled with two suns that moved slowly in a spiral. Jaden blinked, stunned. It was an illusion. The ring on his hand burned warm, guiding him. He landed the ship on a smooth, glass-like surface. As he stepped outside, his feet touched something that looked like stone but felt like water. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. No wind, no birds, no sound of nature, only silence. Thick and heavy. Then he heard a whisper, but not in his ears. It echoed inside his mind. You walk between two truths. Jaden turned around. A figure stood at the edge of the clearing. Not the alien bride. This one wore a dark hood. Her face hidden, but her body shimmered like smoke. Jaden reached for his blaster. Who are you? The figure didn't move. One? Who knows your future? Because I gave you your past. Jaden stepped back. I don't understand. The figure raised a hand. A beam of light shot into the sky. A portal opened, and Jaden saw himself as a child, floating in a white tank, wires attached to his head. Alien scientists watching through glass. No, that can't be me. You are not born. You were prepared for this union, for this war. Jaden's head spun. He couldn't breathe. He fell to his knees. What am I? He whispered. The figure walked closer, still hidden in shadow. You are a bridge between Earth and the lost realm, human heart, alien spirit. And now, your path must split. The ground began to tremble. From beneath the glassy surface, giant vines rose, glowing with symbols. They formed a circle around Jaden, like a gate. You must choose your next step. One path leads to the temple, the other to the truth. Jaden looked at both. One road glowed silver, peaceful, quiet, like a dream. The other crackled with red fire, dangerous but calling him. He looked at his hand. The ring was pulsing fast. What happens if I pick wrong? He asked. The figure faded into smoke, but her final words echoed. Then the bride dies. And so does everything else. Jaden took a deep breath. He stepped toward the fire. The ground shook again. Lightning cracked through the sky. As he walked, his skin glowed faintly. His body changing. The ring growing into his hand like it was becoming part of him. He wasn't just a man anymore. He was becoming something more. Half-human, half-alien. A link between two worlds that should never meet. But it was too late to turn back now. As he reached the end of the path, the mountain split open. Inside, a giant gate stood, carved with the same symbols he saw in the alien bride's temple. Above it, glowing letters appeared. Temple of Echo. Jaden reached out to touch the gate, and a voice whispered softly in his head. I'm waiting, Jaden. The temple door didn't open with sound. It just disappeared. Jaden stepped forward, unsure if he had crossed into a real place or a dream. Inside, everything glowed softly. The walls looked alive, shifting, breathing like veins of light. Under skin, strange shapes moved along the floor, never fully forming, like memories trying to be born. He walked slowly, heart beating louder than his footsteps. His hand brushed the wall. It was warm. It felt like touching time itself. In the center of the temple stood a mirror, but it did not show his reflection. It showed Earth, his planet, burning, cities in flames, oceans boiling, giant ships blocking out the sky. No, Jaden whispered. Behind him, footsteps echoed, not fast, calm. He turned. Lyra, the alien bride, stood there. Her white cloak was darker now, marked with ash. Her face was uncovered for the first time. She was beautiful, but her eyes looked tired, ancient. "You've seen what will come," she said softly. Jaden's voice shook. "What is this? A vision?" "No, a warning," she said. "A future that cannot be stopped. Unless we finish what we started." Jaden stared at her. "You keep saying I was chosen. Bonded, prepared. I never agreed to any of this." Lyra looked at his hand. The ring now pulsed like a heartbeat. "You were born under a deal made between our species. You are not just chosen, Jaden. You are designed." He stepped back. "So I'm not even real?" "You're more real than most," she replied, "because you still have a choice." Jaden pointed at the burning earth in the mirror. "What caused that?" She didn't answer at first. Her eyes drifted to the mirror. "The Council fears the bond between us. They fear peace. They fear what we could become, so they created the Reapers." Jaden frowned. "Reapers? Machines without minds, programs made to erase anything, or anyone, that dares to connect what should remain separate," she said. "They are coming. Earth will be their first lesson." Jaden's hands clenched. "So stop them. Fight them." Lyra walked closer. "We can't, not unless the Dawn Core is awakened." He had heard that name before. "What is it? A weapon? A lock? A key?" "It depends who uses it," she said. "And only one person can touch it, the one who carries the human soul and the alien seal." Jaden suddenly understood. "It's me." Lyra nodded. Jaden turned away, his thoughts spinning. "So my duty is to activate this thing. What happens to me?" Lyra didn't speak for a long time. Finally she said, "You survive. But not as you are now." Jaden laughed bitterly. "Of course. I lose myself to save everyone." "You lose your limits," she said. "Not yourself," he didn't reply. The mirror flickered. Now it showed Lyra, standing alone on a battlefield, her face stained with tears. Then it showed Jaden's ship, floating in silence, empty. Jaden looked at her again. "What happens if I say no?" "The Earth dies, I die. The core stays asleep. And the stars will never forgive you," she said. Jaden stepped forward. "Where is it? This core?" Lyra raised her hand. A stone circle in the floor cracked open. Inside was a sphere of pure light, floating above dark liquid metal. It hummed softly, like it was breathing. Jaden took a deep breath. He reached toward it. The moment his fingers touched the light, pain shot through his body, but not like any pain he had felt. It was not burning. It was remembering memories that were not his. Ancient wars, silent weddings under twin moons, babies born with silver eyes. He saw faces that looked like his. He saw Lyra, crying alone in space. And then he saw Earth. Still alive, he pulled back, gasping. Lyra held his arm. "Now you understand. This is not just your duty. It's your inheritance." Jaden looked down at the ring. It had disappeared. Now the symbols were glowing beneath his skin. He was changing. He was becoming the key. Outside the temple, the ground shook. Jaden looked at Lyra. "They're here, aren't they?" She nodded. "We have 1 hour, maybe less." Jaden turned back to the core. "No more waiting," he said. "Let's finish this." Earth looked peaceful from above. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds drifting slowly like they had nothing to fear. Jaden hovered in low orbit, inside a stealth pod that Lyra gave him, invisible to satellites, untraceable to radar. The planet below had no idea who was watching, or what was coming. The pod felt cold and quiet. Jaden stared at the world he once called home. It looked so normal, so alive. People were probably eating breakfast, going to work, arguing, laughing, completely unaware that death was floating in space behind them. Jaden clenched his fists. "They should know," he whispered. They should at least know what's coming. But that wasn't the plan. Lyra said not to warn them, not yet. It would cause panic, collapse. He didn't agree. But the worst part? He didn't feel like one of them anymore. He didn't feel human. Not fully. He touched the skin near his wrist. The glowing lines were still there, quiet but pulsing. The Dawn Core's energy inside him. Like a second heart. He couldn't hide it now. Not even from himself. Jaden zoomed in on the surface. He located his old city, his old house. The same streets, the same park, the same broken bench where he once sat for hours, dreaming of flying beyond the stars. He was just a kid then. Now he was something else entirely. He set the pod to glide, lower, just enough to see faces. His mother, sitting in the garden, watering flowers. His younger brother, now taller, practicing guitar in the same corner of the balcony. His father, gone. His chair was empty. Jaden felt a crack in his chest. He opened the cum. Tried to speak, but the signal stayed dead. The world had erased him. Official records said he died in a training accident 6 years ago. That's what the mission logs claimed, but the truth was, he was taken. Or maybe given. Project Groom X. Jaden had seen the files inside the temple. The truth Earth never wanted him to know. They made a deal with Lyra's people decades ago. Trade one human child in exchange for advanced knowledge, gravity cores, clean fuel, tech decades ahead of its time. They picked Jaden before he was even born, trained him to be a pilot, programmed his mind with curiosity, left him just enough freedom to believe it was all his choice. But it never was. Jaden closed his eyes. His breath shook. He wasn't angry. He was hollow. Suddenly, the pod's alarm blinked. 3 ships were approaching, cloaked, but not invisible to him. He could feel them. Reapers. Not machines built for war. Machines built for erasure. Silent, fast, perfect. They didn't destroy buildings. They erased people, clean, quiet. Final. Jaden's voice was dry. They're already here. Earth. Didn't know. It never would. Not unless he acted. He activated his neural link. The core inside him began to hum. His eyes glowed faint silver. His veins shimmered faint gold. One thought. One command. The Reaper ships paused. They saw him. Then they retreated. Not because they feared him, but because they recognized him. He was no longer a target. He was a trigger. Jaden fell back into the chair, breathing hard. He wasn't sure what just happened, but the message was clear. He wasn't just carrying the Dawn Core. He was the Dawn Core. And the countdown had begun. Back in orbit, he looked one last time at Earth. So beautiful. So unaware. A voice echoed in his mind. Not Lyra's, his own, a part of him he never heard before. We were never meant to stay human. And deep down, Jaden wasn't sure if that scared him or freed him. Stars don't lie, they burn. They shine, they die. But they never lie. That's why it hurt more than anything when Jaden realized they had been lying to him all along. Not the stars in the sky, but the ones who spoke through them. The ones who sent the whispers, the dreams, the promises. The ones who called him chosen. The ones who said he was the key. Lyra was gone, vanished from their shared connection. No more whispers. No more warmth. Just a silence too perfect to be natural. Jaden stood at the edge of a floating platform, deep within the Echo Belt, an ancient ruin where space itself folded like pages in a book. There were no planets here, only wreckage, old warships. Stone structures that looked older than time. Cold, quiet, forgotten. But Jaden wasn't alone. He could feel them watching. Whoever they were. And then, a sound. Not a whisper, a broadcast. Static, then her voice, Lyra's voice. But it was wrong. Flat. Empty. I failed, she said. He will not return with the core. I will complete the strike alone. Jaden's heart stopped. That voice was live, real, and she wasn't talking to him. She was talking about him. He activated the locator. The signal came from a massive vessel above Earth's outer ring. One of theirs, a ship built for transport. And for war, she was on board. And she was no prisoner. Jaden's eyes burned. The betrayal didn't hit like a blade. It hit like ice, cold, slow, paralyzing. He wanted to believe there was a reason. A trick, a plan. But the voice came again. This union is broken. The weapon must still serve its purpose. The weapon, that's all he was to her. Jaden didn't speak, didn't scream. He just stood there, letting the silence swallow him. Then, without warning, a memory rushed through his mind. Her touch, her eyes, the first time she called him the bridge. Lies, maybe, but they had felt real. That was the worst part. He opened his. Comes, sending a silent pulse to her ship. No answer. He tried again. Nothing. Jaden felt the core inside him begin to shift, the energy pulsing faster. It was responding to his thoughts, his pain, his rage. He didn't want to use it, but now he might have to. Above him, stars flickered. Not natural ones, ships. Dozens, hundreds. Forming a wall across the sky. And at the center of them, her ship. Gleaming silver, covered in the symbols of her kind. The same ship that saved him once. Now it pointed toward Earth. Jaden's voice cracked. So this was the plan all along. A final message blinked on his screen. Short, cold. You were never the groom, just the gate. Jaden closed his eyes. And for the first time, he didn't feel lost. He felt clear. If the stars had lied, then it was time to become something they could never control. He walked back to his pod, the core burning through his skin like fire. The sky above him lit up with engines. War was coming, and this time, he wouldn't run from it. Silence used to be peaceful. Now, it was war. Jaden stood above Earth, suspended between two choices that would end something forever. Maybe himself, maybe humanity, maybe her. Below, the planet spun, quiet and blind. Above, 1,000 alien ships formed a ring around the atmosphere like a crown of blades. And in his chest, the core pulsed like a dying star. He was no longer fully human. He knew it, felt it in his bones, in his blood, in the way the air bent around him, even when he wasn't breathing. He wasn't wearing a suit. He didn't need one. The core had changed him. And now, all it needed was a thought. Just one. He floated, glowing faintly, staring at the silver warship in front of him, Lyra's ship, her symbol still painted across its front. It hadn't changed. But she had sent the message. She had ordered the strike. She had called him a gate. But as his thoughts sharpened, he felt something strange. Not pain, not anger. Grief, not for her betrayal, but for what she had to become to survive this long. Then came the voice, but not through the core, not through the ship, through nothing. Just there. In his head. Soft, broken. I didn't lie. Lyra whispered. And suddenly, she was beside him. No ship, no armor. Just her. Her body glowed like fading fire. Her eyes were dim. She looked tired. Not defeated, just done. Jaden didn't move. She didn't reach out. Neither needed to. There was never a choice, she said quietly. The Council watches everything. If I fought them openly, they would have destroyed both of us. I had to betray you, so they wouldn't fear what we are. He stared at her. The silence between them was heavier than any war. So what now? He asked. She looked down at Earth. Now you choose what I couldn't. Jaden glanced at his hands. The light in them was unstable now, wild, cosmic, ready to become anything he willed. Destroy Earth to stop the Reapers. Destroy the Reapers and risk tearing space apart, or destroy himself. The core pulsed louder. Time bent. Then everything around him slowed. He could hear everything. Earth's heartbeat, The static of alien radios. A child's laugh on a beach below. His mother's voice, calling his name in her sleep. And Lyra's whisper, the first one. The real one. You were never meant to be a weapon. You were meant to be the first. Jaden breathed in. No fear, just decision. He looked at her one last time. Goodbye, Lyra. She nodded, tears in her eyes. Or hello. Somewhere else. He turned toward the sky. The light from the core expanded, not outward, inward. He didn't unleash it. He became it. A pulse of pure white light flashed through the solar system. Not destroying, not erasing, but rewriting. The Reaper fleet froze, then turned to dust. Lyra's ship cracked open, and then vanished. Like fog in sunlight. Earth paused, as if holding its breath, then kept spinning. And Jaden was gone. No body. No signal. Just peace. And in the empty silence of space, a faint sound remained. A whisper. Soft. Calm. We're not alone anymore.